Good morning, the students of class 9. Open your political science textbooks to page 32. It says, Arguments against democracy. Many people still believe that democracy is not the ideal form of government. They have the various reasons and criticisms, which we shall read now. The first, leaders keep changing in a democracy. This leads to instability. Second, democracy is all about political competition and power play. Therefore, there is no scope for morality. Third, decisions can't be made instantly, as many people have to be consulted. This leads to delays. Fourth, most of the elected leaders do not know the best interests of the people. This leads to bad decisions. Fifth, democracy leads to corruption as it is based on electoral competition. And the last, ordinary people do not know what is good for them. So, they should not decide anything. Democracy is only a form of government, not a magical solution to people's problems. A very common example, ending poverty in our country. Democracy ensures that people take their own decisions, but there is no guarantee that their decisions will be good. People do make mistakes. Decisions are definitely delayed. It is also true that leadership changes frequently. Democracy may not be the ideal form of government, but the real question is democracy better than any other form of government? Definitely, yes. You have read about absolutist regimes and how the common people suffered and finally revolted against these regimes. What was their demand? Liberty, equality, and fraternity. Which form of government can provide these ideals? It is only a democratic government. We will now examine the arguments in favor of or for democracy. These arguments will be with examples. Example 1. Between 1958 and 61, China faced a terrible famine. Nearly 3 crore people died of hunger and starvation. Yet in India, the famine did not hit the people so seriously. There are questions that have been asked. Why China lost 3 crore people, but in India, the effect of the famine was less. This was the result of different government policies in the two countries. Democracy made the Indian government respond to food scarcity, but China did not. If China had a multi-party system, an opposition party, and a press free to criticize the government, then so many people would not have perished in the famine. Therefore, democracy is the best form of government. Why? It responds to needs of the people. Therefore, a democratic government is better because it is more accountable form of government. Number 2, democracy is based on consultation and discussion. Decision making, always involves many people as they are able to point out possible mistakes. The big advantage is this reduces the chances of rash or irresponsible decisions. Thus, democracy improves the quality of decision making. Third, in India, people belong to different regions, speak different languages, practice different religions, and are from different castes. Preferences of one group can clash with those of another. How can this be solved? First, it may be solved by brutal power, the use of force. This may lead to resentment and chaos and confusion. These groups may not be able to live together. Therefore, it is democracy that provides the only peaceful solution to this problem. Different groups can live together peacefully. You have read about the ethnic population of Belgium and the accommodation they had made in the constitution that united the country. On the other hand, you read about Sri Lanka, who catered to the interests of the Sinhala speaking people, disregarding the Tamils or the Sri Lankan Tamils. What was the result? A civil war. A civil war that lasted over 3 decades, which destroyed the social, economic, and political well being in Sri Lanka. We go on to the next point. The strongest argument for democracy is about what democracy does to the citizens. Very, very important. Democracy enhances the dignity of citizens. There is political equality. How? The poorest and the least educated have the same status as the rich and the educated. People are not subjects of a ruler. They are citizens of a country. Even when they make mistakes, they are responsible for their conduct. We move to the next point, the last point. Finally, democracy is better as it allows us to correct our mistakes. Mistakes are made by all types of governments, and democratic governments are no exceptions. The advantage in a democracy is that such mistakes cannot be hidden for long. There is space for public discussion, and there is room for correction. And you know what this correction is? First, the rulers can change their decisions. Second, if these decisions are not changed, then the rulers are changed. At the end of these discussions, I hope you will agree with me that democracy cannot get us everything and is not the only solution to our problems. But it is very clear now that it is better than any other form of government. Today, it is the best form of government. You know why? Many nations have turned towards democracy.